Meantime, Republican Senator Josh Hawley reigniting his push for the Pelosi Act, which would ban members of Congress from trading and holding stock. Senator Hawley joins us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What do you think the chances are that this gets passed, and what kind of support do you feel like you have, and what kind of support do you think you still need?
Well, the support is bipartisan. It passed in the last Congress through the Homeland Security Committee, which was the first time ever in any Congress that a committee had actually passed legislation banning stock trading. And listen, in terms of support, you can't have better support than the President of the United States. And the President has endorsed now a stock trading ban for members of Congress. That's a huge boost. A lot of politicians run on this every year in their campaigns, then they don't want to vote for it. I'm going to give them the chance to vote for it.
Explain to the public exactly how this works. What is allowed? What is not allowed?
What is not allowed is the buying or selling of individual company stocks. What is allowed, if politicians want to have mutual funds, treasuries, so forth, they can do that. But they cannot own, they cannot buy or sell individual stocks of companies. They'll have 6 months to divest once the law goes into effect. Then there'll be annual certifications and very serious fines. I mean, currently, the problem with our current law is, of course, there's no ban on buying or selling. There are reporting requirements, but my observation is members of Congress violate those, blow through those all of the time. There are no serious penalties. My legislation puts serious penalties in place, disgorgement of all profits, plus an additional fine on top of that. No blind trust exceptions. You have to get rid of the securities. You can't hold on to them. Again, only treasuries, only mutual funds would be allowed. It's pretty tough.
And what about family?
You could buy the stocks right before the CHIPS Act, right?
Spouses are covered under my legislation, so family is covered here, which I think is important. This is a tough bill. I mean, and listen, it needs to be tough because we have seen multiple instances just in recent years of members of Congress. Nancy Pelosi is the poster child for this. I mean, she beat almost every hedge fund in the nation in 2024. That's pretty darn good. But really, it's also atrocious when you think about the fact that she's doing this on the people's time. But it's a bipartisan problem. Go down the list of the top, 20 stock traders. You're going to see a lot of Republicans on there, too.
It's a fine point, Senator, but, the ETFs, financials, for example, that you're going to propose some really draconian measures on the banks or the chip stocks, the SOX, or an index where that you're going to pass the CHIPS Act. There's still ways to do this, I think. I don't know how far you would really need to go because there are really industry-specific ways of you don't have to buy individual stocks. Would that be covered too? I think you can even buy options and leverage up on a semiconductor index trade.
No options under this bill, and also only broad-based mutual funds. So no industry-specific, correct? Okay. No industry-specific indexes. So this is an important point.
Okay. We got it. You don't have to emphasize it that much. No,
we had a bit of an echo.
We heard an echo. What about Bitcoin, crypto?
Crypto is permitted under this proposal. This is just individual stocks, as well as we talked about options. Right. But treasuries are allowed, index funds are allowed, so long as they're broad-based and not industry-specific.
Senator, we've been talking about this issue for a very long time, and so it's it's great to see that it's being brought to the fore here. I would ask you a different question that relates to all of this. Do you think that there should be greater enforcement of insider trading such that if, in fact, folks were buying an ETF or a mutual fund or Bitcoin or something else like that with knowledge of whatever's going on in Washington, maybe they're briefed on a bill that's going to happen or a company comes in and talks to them about something, should there be enforcement of that, and who should be the enforcer of it? Because right now the SEC doesn't want to do it, in large part because they will tell you, probably not publicly, but they'll say we can't bite the hand that feeds us. It is Congress that appropriates the money for us every year. We've had conversations with Gary Gensler about this. We've had conversations with Jake Clayton about this. It just doesn't seem to be that there is anybody on the beat who wants to police it.
Well, this is why we need this legislation. I'll just say this. Part of the problem that you see with members of Congress, it's not so much that they have access to information that is private and they're trading on that, although that could certainly happen. But what really the advantage members of Congress have is they get information served up to them that may be public, but members of the public would have a heck of a hard time finding it, and members of Congress get it served up to them on a silver platter. So you see this defense all the time. Members say, well, hey, listen, that was public information. True, but you just mentioned briefings. When you're briefed constantly, when you're sitting in committee hearings, that information is brought to you. It is put before you. You've got a chance to act on it in a way that, yeah, maybe a member of the public, if they really knew exactly where to look, could find this. But this is why we need tougher laws. A lot of my colleagues say we have insider trading laws. That's good enough. I don't really think they are good enough. And the public do not think that they're good enough. When I go home and talk to people, they often say to me, wait, this is allowed? We thought members of Congress already were prohibited from buying and selling stock. And I say, oh, how naive you are. No, they're not. People do it all the time. We need to stop it.
Should this extend to their spouses, too?
It should. Yeah, it should. And my bill does extend it to spouses. Yes, I think it should.
I understand a lot of what you're talking about. It bothers me, too. The one issue I have, though, is if you have no one who can trade any stocks, either them or their spouses, do you wind up with a Congress who has a much less keen understanding of how things work in the markets, and therefore will pass legislation that is naive when it comes to how markets work, how businesses work?
Well, I don't know. First of all, I'm not sure that Congress has ever been accused of being extremely sophisticated when it comes to understanding the day-to-day operations of the markets, number one. But number two, I don't think that this will make a significant difference in terms of who comes to Congress, other than it will get people focused on their jobs. My view is members of Congress shouldn't be day trading. They ought to be focused on what they were sent there to do.
I agree they shouldn't be day trading, but should there be windows when they can trade to say,
No,
okay,
why?
you don't have to dispose of all of your holdings or you put it in a blind trust? How do all those details work?
No blind trust under my legislation. And the reason for that is the blind trusts often are so porous. I mean, there are so many loopholes, so many workarounds. It's just really not tough at all. So under my legislation, no blind trust. There's a period of time to divest. And again, members of Congress are welcome to own mutual funds and treasuries and the like, but they are not welcome to own individual stocks and buy and trade them. And let me just add to this. I don't think it increases any member of Congress's expertise, whatever they may have in the stock market, to be buying and selling actively stock while they are sitting there as a member of Congress. If they have a knowledge coming in, fantastic. They can keep that knowledge, use that knowledge for legislation. But let's put that knowledge to the work of the American people, for the American people, as opposed to making a buck on the stock market.